but the reward is that you leave society better than you found it. That's the value that drives progressive engagement in politics and in social affairs. Now, the rules, however, as this comrade was telling us, in the political world are totally different. It has nothing to do about the values of changing society for the better. It's all about a small group of people who want to occupy all that is the public revenues that accrue to the state and use it for their own personal aggrandizement. And because they are very committed to those negative values, they are ready to kill, to maim, and that, as he was telling us, he's been engaged in many demonstrations, he's been beaten up, he's been tear-gassed, but it never got as frightened in his life as when those people came in with arms into his room at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I think the issue that presented, and it really affected the thinking at that time about how to engage the political process. The thinking was, there is one simple reason why the rules in the political world operate in specific ways in Nigeria, because that's not the way those rules operate in democratic society. The basic principle in democratic society is that people vote for people because they like the ideas those people have, or that they simply like those people, that they have trust in them, and they believe those people will do something that's in the interest of the voters. If, however, we've changed the rules in Nigeria for so long, it is precisely because the rules in democratic society were not applicable to Nigeria, and the reason they were not applicable was that elections were not elections. And as Comrade Adams explained, we developed this tradition where the winner is rewritten as the loser, and the loser rewritten as the winner. And the issue, therefore, of returning to issue-based politics and placing progressive change on the agenda is very centrally confronted only when you ensure that the votes of citizens count. And I think, in a sense, that has been the key issue in Nigerian politics over the past decade, that there has been a lot of struggle to change the rules from the rules of the politics of godfatherism, the politics of money, to the politics of protecting the mandate of the voter. And I think it's when the integrity of elections started to improve that you started seeing a return, a very significant return, to issue-based politics, and from issue-based politics to the question of placing the progressive agenda on the political table. I think, therefore, the changes that have been occurring over the past few years are very significant changes, in the sense that once free and fair elections begins to be the order of the day, then it becomes possible to combat the godfathers. Because the reality on the ground is that in 2003 elections, or 2007 elections, the battle that Comrade Adams described could not have taken place, because somebody will sit down in Abuja and simply write the results. And you go to court only to find out there too the results have been written. What's important, therefore, is that even with all his skills and capacities, Comrade Adams could follow that path only because of the significant changes that years of advocacy have started to bring to the nature of the elections regime in this country. I think, to conclude, because I'm now on 4 minutes, to conclude, I think the key issue is that change does not happen because everybody engages to bring change to happen. Most people want change, but most people do not want to take risks to ensure that the change they want happens. At any point in society, therefore, you have people who are ready to take risks, to put their life and their comfort on the table to galvanize change. And if in this country we've been able to make significant progress over the years in widening the scope of human rights in general and improving the quality of our electoral processes, it is precisely because few people were able to commit themselves at very high risks to doing that. The question that has been posed for us is, well, in that case, do all these people who engage in these struggles need to follow the path of directly contesting for power? I think it's not necessarily the case, because not everybody has the skills of a politician. You can have the skills of an advocate and may not have the skills of a politician. The skills of politics, we know, a capacity of effect, capacity to reach out to the table to fight these engagements. And I think, above all, that determination that the goal of obtaining power is worthwhile, and you have a basis to devote your life for that. Important for the society of activists, progressive activists, is that they do what they feel they are best suited for. If it's to limit themselves to...
Boss, always my boss, has actually laid a very good basis when he actually spoke about what politicians and activists really are. But I come from this point of view that the lines are really blurred, in the sense that what do they hope or what do they seek to achieve, which is a better life, social provisioning for citizens, either as an activist or as a politician. But in our own climb, we know that what the law is, or what it ought to be, and what it is completely different in itself. But again, he has spoken very well, and he has made mention of Julius Iyobere, because also for me, anytime I think in terms of politicians or activists actually transiting to the political realm, I think of Professor Julius and my visit to Edo State, when he told me that, look, what we say at the CDD in those days are completely different, because politics in book is completely different from politics in action. Another professor has actually told me today that when you are actually a pilot in charge of a plane and you are a passenger in the same plane, it's completely a different scenario, the way you behave and the way you act. But we have listened to our governor today, who has actually told us, and he seems forever progressive. But how progressive and how consistent, and what can we actually learn from this in terms of his idealism, which is still retained? So for me, it's I have two posers for him before going forward. The first poser will be as a progressive, a pro-poor, somebody who all his life actually fought for labor in itself.